Hello, everyone. Here I am with another episode of the podcast that we are restructuring and relaunching. So, we are going to dive deep today into something that many people don't realize that is happening inside of their bodies, and is a silent killer, a silent fire that is making us sick, that is creating and is the mother of all diseases. And I'm talking about inflammation. And many times we romanticize the idea that is our intuition, that is a gut feeling, that we are feeling butterflies. But maybe, what if it's not? What if it's something that your body is trying to tell you that is happening within you, and you are already creating a leaky gut? You are already permeating toxins into your brain, and that's why you are having probably a very low level of energy, or that's why you have this brain fog and you are not able to concentrate and to uh, have a cognitive process that is fluid, and that you can really feel that you can memorize things, or that you can cope with just your daily habits, your daily schedule. So let's start with some graphics so that you can watch better what is happening inside of the body, and you understand better these abstract concepts, because they are sometimes a little difficult to process, but I will try to make my best to explain them in an easier way. So we are going to cover these topics and these strategies and ideas. So the first is we are going to talk about the silent fire. Chronic inflammation is the root of modern disease, and that's what is happening inside of your body. Many times we don't realize that our body needs this kind of process to uh, start signaling to you that there is a disruption inside. Number two, the broken barriers. We are going to talk about gut health, how dictates your brain health. And number three, we are going to have a lifestyle reset, an example of a person that developed these kind of symptoms and what happened to her in terms of the strategies and protocols that she could apply so that she felt much better than when she started having the symptoms. So let's go with the first thing that we are going to cover, and let's start moving the ideas so that you can also understand what is happening. The essential idea number one is that the silent killer is working when we have an injury as an acute signal, as a danger signal, and we have these kind of symptoms because we need to repair and protect our tissues. So it's loud, it's painful, but it's protective. And the body's emergency system, metabolic system, is creating these kind of cascades of cytokines and inflammatory markers, and they all come to the site and they repair the wound, and that's what happens. But when it is chronic, what is happening? This is when it gets interesting. It is silent, it is painless, but it is destructive. So this is a fire that never goes out, and it's constantly giving you messages in your body, but you don't seem to listen. So one of the most important biomarkers that you can use to start coping with these signals is your CRP protein, high sensitivity C reactive protein, HSCRP. And this is the smoke signal. This is like the alarms on the roofs, on the houses, on the hotels, that they detect the smoke and they start activating the alarm so that the firefighters have this signal and start putting out the fire. But if you don't listen to that alarm, if you don't pay attention, and if the worst thing that you can do, if you start taking over the counter medications to alleviate the pain, what you are going to do is that you are going to create a cycle of numbing the signals and getting your body in a worst shape. So, next idea is what is happening with your broken barriers. The gut is the house of 70% of your immune system. 70%. That's a lot of mechanisms, of processes, of signals, of messengers that are working there in your gut and producing hormones and producing these immune messengers so that your whole body works in a much softer and calmer way. But if we have a leaky gut, if we start breaking the barriers, we will have to let pass through this barrier a very, let's say, permissive toxin, which is LPS or lipopolysaccharide. And this one starts creating a metabolic endotoxemia. So those are toxins that escape into the blood. And then they can travel and they can go into the hematoencephalic brain barrier. They pass through that hematoencephalic barrier and they start permeating to your nervous system and inflamming the brain. That's why it starts in the gut. It starts with symptoms like bloating, like feeling that you are having gastritis, feeling that you are having colitis, all of the itis which represent inflammation. And then it becomes worse because it will go up to your brain. And now we know that inflammation is also one of the leading causes for Alzheimer's disease and many neurodegenerative diseases or mental diseases such as depression as well. So, next idea, what is happening in the gut-brain axis? Well, your vagus nerve that travels your whole body is trying to patrol your whole system and is trying to help you to detect that there is an imbalance, there is a disruption, and you are not producing the same quantities of serotonin, one of the most important hormones, so that you can have a much better mood, a peaceful life, let's say, and a much better outlook of your life. If you are not producing this serotonin in your gut because you have this break in your barrier, in your gut, and you are letting toxins go through, well, inflammation is going to sequester this essential amino acid, which is tryptophan, and then you are going to create neurotoxins. And if you don't have something to cope with these neurotoxins, your immune system is going to think that something is wrong, and it's going to create a very permissive signal that is going to make your life worse, let's say, and it's going also to create a dysbiosis that will translate into anxiety. Then what is going to happen in your system, in your brain, in your thoughts? You will have a stress loop, and this is what happens when we create these toxic, deleterious signals. You create psychological stress due to the conditions of your life that, of course, are really, really hard in terms of what you are doing, of what you are processing in your life. And then what happens is that you create an HPA axis dysregulation. This, in turn, creates a cortisol resistance, which is the immune cells that go deaf, and then they can't detect some of the signals, but they believe that the signals that you are creating as a, let's say, as a activating these alarms are out from outside, are external, and they start attacking your own cells and attacking your own system, which is autoimmunity. And this is the inflammation running away and then creating the psychological stress again. So thinking stressful thoughts can physically inflame the body. That's why you need to start doing something so that you can create a strategy where you can really learn how to handle your stress, how to handle these signals, and how to handle the different kind of things that are happening inside of you. Now, what is the proof of concept in terms of the depression remission, and what is happening in a case study that we are going to analyze? Well, this woman is a 47-year-old female which has treatment of resistant in terms of the depression that she's having, mild depression dysfunction, let's say, that she's having. And what is happening is that she has this severe uh, inflammation process that is happening in her brain due to the different kind of thoughts. But we are going to observe what is happening with this just with simple strategies that we are going to create, and I'm going to highlight here so that you can really pay attention to what how simple these strategies can be so that you can alleviate your pain and alleviate the inflammation. So we have two diseases and one mechanism. This woman has OCD 25 years, which is going to start in remission, and she has ulcerative colitis, which is going to start also in remission, and she has 5 years with this ulcerative colitis. Then we are going to create a 12-week protocol of a metabolic therapy, which is going to help her to heal her brain and alleviate these intrusive thoughts that create disease. So let's understand that we are not just managing the symptoms. We are not taking just pills so that she can numb the symptoms, but we are going to have a strategy so that we can create an a very much wider way of alleviating the fire, extinguishing the fire. So first, what you have to do if you are presenting any of these symptoms of the foggy brain, the energy drain, you have bloating in your stomach, or you are already having gastritis or colitis or any of these symptoms in your digestion process, and you feel that you are not absorbing well your nutrients, then test your HSCRP so that you can observe the levels that you have. Number two, eat one anti-inflammatory meal today and start adjusting your diet so that you can start creating more anti-inflammatory variety in your food. And third, prioritize sleep. That's something that has to be urgent because your brain also detoxifies and your whole gut is repairing your barriers when you sleep. So, how do we do that? Well, the next thing that we have to do is that we have to cool the fire. How? With lifestyle medicine. Movement is going to create the release of myokines, which are anti inflammatory signals that are going to protect the stress and are going to allow the repair of these barriers that are already permeating the toxins. Next, we are going to have a protocol so that you can rest and repair better, having 7 to 9 hours to clean the brain. And we are going to implement probably with exercise, you are going to improve, of course, your sleep, but we are going to also have meditations. We can also create some breathing techniques so that you can start sleeping much better. Next, we are going to create a protocol which is going to cultivate your inner garden. So we are going to remove the storm. We are going to create a biological different kind of strategy so that you avoid processed sugar, so that you avoid seeds, oils, and so that you avoid ultra processed foods. And we are going to replace all of that with feeding the soil and having polyphenols like berries, green tea, omegas 3 fatty acids in fish, in blue fishes, and we are going to create a much better balance between the omega 3 and omega 6s. And we are going to implement a protocol with leafy greens, which have a lot of fiber and some fruits that can help with the fiber. So tending your inner garden is extremely important. And this is a quote for Dr. Mark Hyman. Next, why does this metabolic reset that is just very, very simple is working for this patient? Well, because we created cleaner energy with ketones, which mainly are formed with one of the most important molecules, which is beta hydroxybutyrate. And this is going to block the formation of one of the inflammasomes, which is a structure that is created when many of these inflammatory signals are being created and your body starts detecting them and you develop this inflammasome and it travels throughout the body and then it starts disrupting with toxins many of your barriers. So when we block this with cleaner energy and with this molecule of beta hydroxybutyrate, what we are doing is that we are stabilizing the neural circuits and we are creating a much cleaner outlook for our brain. And next, we are going to start distracting the bouncer. And by bouncer, I'm referring to the disease that we are creating in the blood, in the brain, and in the blood-brain barrier. And what we are going to develop is a strategy that starts distracting the system with this kind of toxins and breaching the brain with this storm of cytokines. And the result is that you have brain fog, anxiety, and depression. So when we distract the bouncer with these strategies of cleaner energy, of blocking this inflammasome and stabilizing the neural circuits, we heal our brain and we avoid this breach in the blood-brain barrier and we start avoiding the inflammation that is happening inside of us and inside the brain, which is extremely important and which is one of the leading causes of the mental diseases that I mentioned, which are depression, which is anxiety, which is also many other mental diseases or neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson. All of these diseases are caused by this silent killer, which is inflammation. So if you want to heal, really extracting the root cause and understanding what is happening within you, it is not that difficult. It is just a strategy of changing your lifestyle in small doses so that you can start implementing these kind of protocols. And to help you with that, we created a 12-month program in the Holistic Academy where I'm going to announce with my partner, Amy Steele, some of the best master classes to help you navigate your wellness journey and to help you understand what is happening in your biochemistry, in how you eat, in the different kind of nutrients that you can start adding to your plate, to your nutrition, and also understanding how each of the colors of the food that you are consuming is activating one system that is releasing this inflammation process and this uh, stress that you are having in your life. So thank you very much for listening. If you like this episode, of course, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel, and to follow me here in my social media networks and to visit my website where I have a different kind of programs for each kind of people that want to start her own journey or his own journey in this world of wellness with science. Thank you very much, and we will listen to each other in the next episode. Have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye.